spend all morning on it. We'll jump through the agenda. So and await the outcome of that. Item number 1, minutes of meeting of the last cabinet meeting on 17th of November. Any thoughts, comments, questions on those? No, great. Any apologies, Mr. Business Manager? I don't think we've got any.
All present and correct.
Thank you very much. Any declarations of interest? No. Fabulous. Right, item 4. I'll hand over to.
That are ongoing. Needless to say, the plan does rely on movement as far as the transformation agenda is concerned, both in adults and young peoples, and we will be continuing to drive that process forward as part of that. The plan has, the report, the delivery plan has been in front of scrutiny. I was in scrutiny the other day. I was asked a number of questions by the opposition who were present at that meeting. But apart from that, the report is self-explanatory, and I move that it be put in front of the Cabinet today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Worth noting, if members peruse the paperwork, that we are on track or complete in the vast majority of our priorities we've set for the year. It's largely positive stuff from that perspective. Don't know if any cabinet members wish to speak or highlight any elements of it. No, all calm. As the deputy leader says, paperwork's fairly self-explanatory from that point of view. If no, who are you pointing? Who are you pointing at?
Well, Councillor Clark was pointing along the line. No,
either way. No problem. Okay, so we will move on then. In that case, do we need to vote on the report because it's for noting? Isn't it? What's the recommendations in here? It is to note. So, given that it's just to note to the report, I don't think we need to vote on that one. And we'll move on to agenda item number 5, food redistribution schemes. Councillor Barney.
Thank you very much indeed, Leader. And I'd like to continue with thanks, not least to Jonathan Goodwin, who sat beside me, but especially to single out 2 members of staff, Maggie Morris and Dawn Jenkin, particularly Dawn Jenkin, who sat on the public health team, who I've got to know very well over the last 6 months. And I'd just like to put on the record in front of our Chief Executive and the Leader of this Council that Dawn Jenkins' passion and commitment to setting up these food distribution schemes over the last 3 years through COVID initially, and then more latterly as we've entered the cost of living challenges that we face, is just extraordinary and exceptional. I've seen her passionate commitment, and I've seen some of the challenges that she's faced. She's gone above and beyond the extra mile in delivering these schemes. And I have to say that she's also learned a great deal, I think, in doing it. And we've seen over the last 3 years quite an evolution in how we deliver these schemes, how we're targeting and getting the best value for money out of the money that we've been able to put forward towards these food distribution schemes. And that's largely thanks to Dawn. Actually, she sat up there. She's hearing me praise her. So it's without any apology at all that I've spent this time to do that, because it is exceptional, Dawn, the work you've done. And I'm really grateful. And I know that those who are beneficiaries of this scheme are also grateful, not even knowing who you are, for the work you've done. So thank you so much. But as I say, we have been able to learn over the last 3 years on how to administer these schemes better. We've been in the fortunate position where, through a collection of either COVID-specific grants or unspent public health reserves, we've been able to put money towards helping people, the most needy people in the county of Nottinghamshire, those who find themselves most acutely challenged either as a result of COVID or now with cost of living pressures, that we've had this money in the coffers and we've been able to put it to good use. And this paper that we have before us this morning ties in very nicely to a paper that Scott and I were able to approve back on the 14th of November, which commissioned £700,000 worth of funding of unspent public health reserves towards food insecurity programs, energy grants for the voluntary sector, and a raft of other measures, including a brilliant scheme for the Nottingham Energy Partnership, which was highlighted yesterday evening on BBC East Midlands Today. So I'm really, really thrilled and delighted that we have been in a position to do these incredible things, and I'm really pleased that this money is getting to where it needs to get to those who are in the greatest need. And of course, this also comes back on the back of what our own government have done, which I think that we all too flippantly forget. Through COVID, we've seen this country rally together, and we've seen enormous support poured out to those who couldn't work through COVID, billions and billions of pounds, and then more latterly with the heating grants that we've seen central government put in place, again to the tune of billions. Rather more humbly, Jonathan and I are only dealing with monies in the hundreds of thousands, but nevertheless it's of great significance, and it is targeted where it's most needy to those in our community who find themselves struggling at these difficult times. And so, without further ado, if we could turn to page 54, you'll see the two recommendations before us. Firstly, that we continue our financial support for food redistribution schemes, and secondly, that the £210,000 worth of money that we earmarked actually back in May and have already agreed as a cabinet, we said there would be a review on how that money would be best spent. I said we've learned from what we've done over the last 3 years, and the result of that conclusion and that report is in this document, and how we should best spend and target that money. And so I'm grateful as well to John Cotty, there he is, who will be administering this through his department, through the Local Communities Fund scheme. You'll see that there's 3 tranches of money. This is funding actually set aside over the next 3 years, initially 90,000 for next year, and then 65,000 the year after, concluding with 55,000. You'll also note, if you've read the detail of the report, that Dawn has highlighted that over the last 3 years, not less than 37 food redistribution schemes have popped up and cropped up around Nottinghamshire. And so I wanted to close by just acknowledging the work of the charitable sector and the voluntary sector in Nottinghamshire, which is resilient, is strong, has risen to the challenge, again, working together to do what needs to be done to fill the gap and fill the voids which have arisen through the very challenging times that we've faced as a society and a country. And again, just to single out one, I've been pleased to help in Rushcliffe, the Suway a Day food redistribution scheme, which has been absolutely extraordinary in the work that's doing Rushcliffe, and I know that's replicated across Nottinghamshire. So, good news. I wish we could do more, but I very much hope the Cabinet will support this recommendation and vote this through this morning. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Matt. Grateful for that, and always important, I think, to reiterate and put on record the wonderful work our communities do, particularly those volunteers who step up and, as you say, support their friends and neighbours and fill those gaps, which is often, regardless of cost, actually the most effective way of helping and supporting communities in many circumstances. So always grateful for people who give up their time and energy to do that, and also that we're able to financially support those groups as well. It's always worth, again, reiterating in challenging times that there are many millions of pounds of support available to people that they can access and find in many cases. So as I've highlighted, and as this is a public meeting, theoretically, however many people are watching, that people can contact us, the council, their member of parliament, their DWP and various other places, and access that funding if they need it. Would anyone else like to speak on this item? Chris?
Yeah, thank you, Leader. I'd just like to express my appreciation. On page 51 of the bundle in front of us is obviously a list of some of the schemes that are beneficiaries, some of the distribution schemes, the beneficiaries of this funding. And the Newstead Community Centre Food Pantry, which sits within my division, and the Gedland Borough area is one of those schemes, who do a fantastic job. Newstead is a deprived area in terms of income, and it ticks lots of boxes. Unfortunately, in terms of social deprivation, it's isolated, it has difficulties with transport, it has a very hard-working and close-knit community who all pull together. But the support that schemes such as this offer to communities like Newstead is invaluable, and I know that I express appreciation from Newstead Parish Council and the residents of Newstead particularly for the scheme that we're discussing this morning, and the fact that it benefits so many of the residents within my division. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Gordon?
Thank you, Leader. As has been said many times in this chamber, it's very hard to follow Matt. but I'll try. It's largely to build on what Matt has said, actually. I've got food banks, and you actually touched one as an example of the amazing work they've done. And thanks to Graham Swan, who was helped out last weekend in doing that. It was fantastic, fantastic news. But the purpose of drawing your attention to was an email last night from Joe Shepherd. Please read that email if you haven't a chance to look at it already, and circulate wide within your communities, because it talks about, and you will read it, a local community fund scheme and who can apply and mechanisms for applying. So please go onto your Facebook column, put that message on there. Comms team have got a great job in getting that message out to us members, but we then need to get it out to the community. So please follow that if you would. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you, Gordon. Tracy.
Thank you, Chairman. I also said I wouldn't attempt to follow Matt again, but it's quite hard when he's delivering the paper. I really just wanted to thank Matt and his officer corps for the work that's gone into this, particularly in terms of the support for children and families, more particularly for the way that this piece of work has been, I think, illustrative of closer into portfolio working, shall we say. So Matt's already acknowledged John Cotty's World and how they will be helping to support and deliver the funding for this. So thank you for what's gone into it so far, and I look forward to ever closer working into portfolio ways. Thank you.
Thank you. It's worth recognising that these issues, as many do, actually cross beyond those kind of departments, and I'm grateful for the work that's happened together between officers and cabinet members in getting all of this right and in order. I have John next.
Thank you, Leader. Well, when Matt does his presentation, it always allows you to keep your speech short and sweet, because he has covered a lot of the areas within the report, and I'm very pleased that he's handed over the funding to the place team, who have been delivering across the county through COVID and through the hard times that we're getting at the moment. And I know that my team will be excellent at getting that funding out to the groups that require it. And so I'd like to thank Matt personally for giving me another job to do, but I will do it with pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John. It's worth again saying that we're years now into these kinds of support mechanisms, kind of morphed from COVID recovery type support into cost of living challenges, and as an organisation nationally, locally, we've learned a lot of lessons in the delivery of that, and kind of honed that over time. So I'm sure that we're in a position to effectively deliver that support. We're expecting another couple of rounds, I think, of household support funds that will keep you busy for a little bit longer. Thank you, Keith.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. I don't mind following Matt, to be fair, because it always gives you loads to talk about. I want to sort of add on to the praise he gave to the third sector, really. The voluntary sector is a massive influencer in Nottinghamshire, and I believe personally it's a measure of society, the amount of charities that we have. I don't think it's a bad thing on society. I think it's a good thing. It's society taking responsibility for what's happening in its area and saying it wants to do something about it. It's not all about the government having to do. It's not all about the council having to do. It's about community and about society taking responsibility for what's going on. And it's great to see the number of charitable organisations that's going to benefit from this support, which makes me very proud as a county councillor to be part of that distribution of money to help them. And we do know there's other forms of funding out there that can be applied for if required to be able to help boost that up as well. So to me, it's a great indication that Nottinghamshire is a fantastic county that's got lots of voluntary organisations that's there to help people that need the help the most. And I really support this proposal. Thank you.
Absolutely, and as I said earlier on, I think often it's more effective in terms of people's support and outcomes for us to try and help and facilitate and fund where necessary some of that community organisation and benefit than try and reinvent the wheel from that perspective. It's often the most local groups and causes that are most effective at delivering that help. So absolutely agree. Anyone further want to comment on this? Otherwise, I will point you at the recommendations on page 54 that we continue our financial support for these kinds of schemes. And Matt touched on the figures in recommendation 2. I'll ask for all those in favour. That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Microphone off, which was daft. We'll move on to the final item flying through this morning, which is our highways review. Councillor Clark.
Thanks very much indeed, Leader. And to continue the good news, basically, and I'm sure the thousands of people watching on line today will be very thankful to see how much their roads in Nottinghamshire are improving. It's hard to believe that it was 18 months ago, June 2021, when we started the highways review as a result of the number one priority of people at election time on the doorstep talking about the state of the roads. And I really want to thank everybody that's been involved with this review. Just to remind you, it was a cross-party review. And then involved officers from the county and then all the staff from VIA and other partners as well, helping out with the review. And the outcomes, 50 odd recommendations that came as a result of that, have all helped to improve the roads. The report is there before you, very comprehensive, which I'm sure everybody has digested and seen how much of the good work is actually coming forward. Just to show you, I've got a couple of slides, which I don't know, are they coming up on the screen? No? Oh dear, here we go. First, anyway, I'll keep talking while we try and get the couple of slides up. There was the roads, obviously, is one of the principal aspects of the highways review. So repairing potholes to large patch repairs, which was the main emphasis. Pathways were then included as part of that, because that's all part of the highways. Then we've looked at drainage, preventing flooding on the roads as a result of grip maintenance on the verges and grass cutting. Winter maintenance, also an incredibly important part. And then looking at road safety and all the road safety aspects and the education for pre-driver training, and then cycle safety as well. Coupled with that was investment in street lighting and environmental reduction in costs, etc. And you can see now up on the screen just the comparison. The left-hand side, potholes as they were, and the same piece of road, the large permanent patch repair on the right-hand side, which is now what we are achieving. The way in which we have done that is by extra investment, and you'll see on the statistics, not only have we doubled the number of repair teams from 4 to 8, but also the next figure's down, the area, the productivity that has been increased but from each team has more than doubled. So therefore, in the total, the output has been quadrupled in total. And remembering those photographs that were just on there, the top right-hand statistic, the number of potholes requiring VIAFIX, that's reduced by 61%. So, and coupled with that, the evidence for that as well, Leader, is that the number of complaints regarding potholes is reducing. And we're actually getting some praise and comments saying how pleased people are with the repairs. So, as you can see there, the customer satisfaction is increasing, and we've increased that productivity. Communications was a very important part of the review, and we have been telling people how we are going to be repairing roads and how we're achieving it. And I really want to praise the workforce who are also engaging with the public, and we have been sending out letters to those impacted by repairs in order to tell them, so they're aware of what repairs are going on. So I've just got a short full-length feature film to show you. I just want to show you this video, which is a couple of minutes long, which is the video that is available to the public, and this demonstrates perfectly how much we've increased our communication.
As part of our ongoing investment to improve the roads and pavements in Nottinghamshire, we're pleased to let you know we will be resurfacing your road. We've created this short guide to let you know what to expect on the day and what you can do to help the work run smoothly. The timings should be detailed on the letter you've received before the works, but a board will be put up on site showing important information such as expected duration of works. Your road will be getting large road surface patch repairs from one of our mechanical patching teams. Ahead of the works, you'll notice some areas of deteriorated road surface that have been marked up for repair. On the day, firstly the road will be planed so any damage is removed. The surface is then swept and the new material can be laid. The edges are tidied up if needed. And the surface is then prepared with a bitumen emulsion so the material sticks better. Hot material is laid in the area and a roller is used to level the surface. Finally, edging is applied to make a watertight seal. This new road surface should last for many years. To keep both you and us safe, the road will be closed to traffic for the duration of the works. Ahead of the morning of the works, we ask you to move any vehicles parked on the road onto a driveway or nearby street to allow us to gain access to the road surface. If you know you need to use a vehicle that day, it may be best to park it on another road close to the site. We recognise that accessibility for residents, deliveries, carers and emergency services is important while there is roadworks. We'll do all that we can to maintain access when you need it during the day. Pedestrian access along your road will be maintained at all times. If you have an important appointment or carers that need access to your property, we will not obstruct you. It's best you let us know about any urgent access requirements in advance so we can do our best to accommodate. Depending on the situation, it may be best if visitors prepare for possible delays or park away from the site. Although our on-site teams at VIA are very approachable, so let them know if there's anything we can help you with. If it's wheelie bin collection day, you can leave your wheelie bin in the usual place. If needs be, we assist the bin loaders and put the bins in a more accessible place. You might be worried if emergency services can access your street or property while the works are underway. Due to the nature of the works, we ensure emergency services vehicles can pass through the site most of the time. And if there is an emergency, the team will move out the way to allow access. Whilst we do our best to maintain access for vehicles most of the day, there is a short time when you and visitors will not be able to drive along the road. This is because materials need to be allowed to cure after it's been rolled, a process that can take around 20 minutes to an hour depending on the temperature and the weather conditions. After the curing process, you are free to drive over the new surface. If you want to contact us ahead of the works, you can find the details on your letter, or alternatively, you can contact Nottinghamshire County Council Customer Services, who will be happy to help. On the day, please talk to a member of the team on site. It's also really important for us to get feedback from residents about the work. On your letter, you'll find a QR code and a web link to take you to a short survey. Here you can tell us about your experiences, the works, and let us know if there's anything we could improve. We hope you feel much more informed about what to expect on the day, and we thank you for your cooperation.
So I think that just demonstrates what a great job the comms are doing in engaging more with the public. I'd just also mention a part of the review, the Lengthman scheme as well, which we reintroduced, and that's engaging communities again, all helping towards improving their environment. So just before I move the recommendations, I'd just like to thank everybody who's been involved with the review. In particular, we have here today Dan Marr, the recently, well, not so recently now, but appointed Managing Director of VIA, who's brought energy and enthusiasm to the organisation and is really helping to push it ahead. And also the new Chairman, Matthew Lugg, will be joining he will also be bringing considerable expertise to the organisation. So I just wanted to, if we could ask Dan to take back our thanks to the workforce for stepping up to the plate and really bringing forward the the improvement of our roads. And with that, Leader, I'll move the 3 recommendations at the bottom of page 67.
Possibly the briefest speech and presentation you've ever done, in my experience. So I'm very grateful for that, and welcome, Dan.
Is that bullying and harassment?
Look, absolutely. I want to just reiterate and that appreciation, because it's incredible work, really, and the change in tone and approach, I think, is noticeable in terms of the organisation as a whole, and you absolutely cannot argue with some of those statistics that were there on the screen in the presentation. We've doubled the productivity in terms of outcomes, doubled the areas of high quality patching via fixed temporary repairs down by 60% It's absolutely fantastic outcomes for residents, and I think as part of that kind of ongoing improvement process, it's certainly made a huge inroads in terms of the quality and outcomes of all of that, which we're massively grateful for. I'd like to continue to build on that comms work. I think that video is excellent, and trying to keep residents informed as much as possible. I think that's hugely important, and perhaps can get us into a place where those kinds of works are seen as positive investment rather than somebody annoying me by digging up my street. But that's eminently deliverable, I think, with good communication. I'd point to, in my own area, some brilliant examples on the A60 and A617 of some excellent work in repairs that have been done. My experience talking to residents has been that the feedback has massively improved as well, and we've gone from 18 months ago having nothing but criticism through that election that every resident would slate the state of the roads, to actually, as you said, Neil, getting some really good reports and feedback, whilst recognising that we've got nearly 3,000 miles of road, and it will take a little bit of time to work our way around all of that. So really positive stuff. I think, Keith, you had your hand up?
Yeah, just really, just to say that I don't think we should underestimate the good this is doing. I mean, the amount of hassle I used to get on Faceache about the condition of roads, and a pothole's just had some stuff stamped on it, and half an hour later it's a pothole again, and it was really damaging the reputation of Nottinghamshire County Council in terms of the delivery of that particular part of the service. And I can honestly say that I don't get any now. I know there's still people that want their road doing because they've seen somebody else's road done, but they see that roads are being done, and that's really important. And at a parish council meeting last night, where it wasn't me actually, it was Councillor Sam Smith that said about how wonderful he was doing all the roads in his patch. It was really acknowledged by the parish council that they'd noticed a distinct difference as well. So it's having a real impact on the people out there. We can all hug and say how wonderful we are, but if it doesn't get out to them, then it doesn't really count, and it is. And I think that's something we should be really pleased of, and absolutely pass on our thanks to your staff, Dan, because it's making a real difference to how people's lives are out there and our reputation as a council.
Thank you, Keith. Chris?
Yeah, thank you, Leader. At the risk of repeating much of what's been said, I mean, I've been here for a long time, and reports on the poor condition of some of our roads was the bane of most of our lives. Let's be right. Whether it was attending parish council meetings or receiving reports from residents, and all of a sudden, it's like my phone isn't working, because I'm not getting complaints from residents in the way that I was. And I go to parish council meetings, and when I come away with my list of complaints and tasks, there's no reference to the state of the roads. And now that is the first time in a long time that it's been that way. And I'd just like to offer my thanks. I mean, Gary sat at the side of me here. I talk to Gary all the time. If I prioritise a road in my area, Gary will go out himself and have a look at it if needs be, and I know that then I get a result and I get that work done. And to echo, Dan, welcome to the role that you've taken on. Big challenge. It's a big challenge, and the difference is absolutely palpable. I mean, I went to Remembrance Day service parades and Christmas light switch-ons, and I've actually had residents come up to me in my division and say what a massive improvement in the roads, and thank me. and that's just unheard of. I'm actually being thanked by residents for the patching work that's taken. But obviously they've seen me out there doing my Rod Stewart, filling in the holes myself, of course. But no, I mean, I actually was able to go and thank the VIA staff when they were in Ravenshead. Well, in fact, they're still in Ravenshead at the moment because they're doing a series of roads, and I was able to go and thank them personally for the work that they're doing and the difference that they are making. So, tremendous. Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Good.
Thank you, Leader. Good morning, Dan, and welcome to the job. Good morning. Good to meet you, albeit from a distance here this morning. Awesome. Thanks. It's very important you do this to our district managers as well, who do a great job in liaising with us, keeping us informed. That's very important. Neil, I'd like you to share that video, please, with through all members. In this chamber, we've often faced criticism on VIAFIX. You've seen it on the screen. You see the figures. It's a shame those fierce critics are not here this morning to see that and see what a great job's been done. I know where they are, but they're not here. So it'd be really good if that video could be shared with all members so they can see what those few of us in the chamber this morning, can see on the screen, and let them digest the good news. They may not want to hear the good news, but let them digest it anyway. Thank you.
Thanks, Gordon. It's always worth reiterating, as I do in many of these conversations with residents, that there's a lot of time and energy and investment gone into making this happen, and those outcomes are unarguable, really, and fantastic. But that we have, as I say, some nearly 3,000 miles of road. We have legal obligations to make emergency repairs in some cases, so it isn't going to be perfect overnight. And as we've discussed here in the past, perhaps if it was a private sector asset in a different financial situation, you might spend 10 times as much on repairing our roads as well. So there has to be some realism in all of this. But you're absolutely right to point out, that we've been called for change for a long time. A lot of criticism in this chamber as well. John always talks about his experience when he was in charge of the roads and got nothing but slating at every full council meeting. Neil's had nothing but praise, John. So I don't know what that says.
You tried to tell me something, Leader.
They're really grateful for that. Bruce.
Thank you very much. I'm going to take the opportunity to speak to you, Dan. I represent the division with the highest number of reported potholes in the county, and I've still got some die-hard parish councils out there like Sutton-on-Trent and Farnsfield that still are not bought into the new process, and there's still work to be done as far as those areas are concerned, particularly on the footways and disabled access on footways as well, which is a considerable issue as far as many of these villages are concerned. So it's not all good news. There's still work and a lot of work to be done out there, particularly in those areas where there's a high density of potholes, and we need to make sure that we address those issues. Thank you very much, Leader.
No, I think that's right, and speaks to the point about the scale of the challenge and many years of backlog from that sense, and the ongoing improvement work that will need to always be done. I don't think anyone in this room, particularly yourself, Dan, would believe that the job will ever be finished. In that sense, it never will be. But we've got a lot of ongoing work to do. Neil, did you want to come back briefly?
Just very quickly, you made a comment about look upon this as an investment in the roads, and quite right. And just to remind you, as you already know, obviously, the amount of investment that we made, £15 million over the 4 years, in order to help achieve this outcome, which is now underway. So I think we just need to be sure that we keep getting the message out, the tremendous investment we are making for the roads in Nottinghamshire.
No, absolutely. Thanks for reiterating that. I think we can, a year on from the implementation of the Highways Review outcomes, as I say, be confident that it's made a difference. And those stats, I think, speak for themselves. We've set ourselves on a good trajectory through the hard work of that review, through the hard work of leadership and staff at VIA and within the council and officers who've been involved in this, which we should be and are massively grateful for. And as the recommendations on page 67 lay out, it is now an ongoing engagement and improvement process, particularly, I think, around that resident communication and making sure that everybody is aware and informed and able to access everything they need around the works that happen in their area. Tracy.
Thank you. I wasn't going to speak, leader, but Bruce has kind of given me an in. As a representative of a rural area as well, the problems that I face increasingly are around footpaths and access on footpaths. I did actually take time to speak to Neil before we came into the cabinet meeting today, and he said that is an area of work which is being followed up on, but I can't really take or miss an opportunity while we've got Dan in the room to actually make that same plea. For my residents, access to footpaths in rural villages is hugely significant. Thank you.
We'll go around the room. Everybody can list off their street they want doing next. Look, we're. I think, as I say, we can draw a line under the kind of review process and be happy and confident that it's made a difference. That the stats speak for themselves, and now look forward at that ongoing process of improvement and the continued investment with some optimism. I hope that we can continue on that trajectory. So really grateful for all the hard work. So just finally point people to the recommendations on page 67, which speak to that, and ask for all those in favour. That is also unanimous. Now, I don't know what the plan is around the chairman's very important prize draw. Is that something that will happen when the meeting is closed, Mr. Chief Executive? All right.
Could just have a brief about quarter an hour where we'll just make sure everything's set up, and if members want to head back to the...
All right. Members are now well informed, and with that, I can draw today's cabinet meeting to an end. And finally, if I don't speak to people beforehand, I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas and get a chance to have a break over that period, and we'll come back refreshed and invigorated for 2023. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ursula.